Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video we are going to study more about cancer biology. So let's get started. So starting with today, we are going to study how and where does the tumor arise from. So talking about the term cancer, so cancers do arise from tumors, right? So tumors can be cancerous or cannot be cancerous. So we'll talk about its origin. So where does it arise from? So these tumors arise from many specialized cell types throughout the body. So we'll discuss one of the cell types from where majorly tumors arise. All right. So the majority of human tumors arise from epithelial tissues. So if you have watched my previous video, I mentioned about the term epithelial tissues while differentiating between a normal cell and a cancerous cell. So it is very important to understand that most of the tumors, or almost 70 to 75% tumors, arise from epithelial tissues. And these epithelia are sheets of cells that line the walls of cavity and channels in the skin, serve as the outside covering of the body. So the epithelial layer is the covering present outside the layer, right? It's the outermost cover of the layer. So by the first decades of the 20th century, detailed histological analysis had revealed that normal tissues containing epithelia are all structured similarly. Thus, beneath the epithelial cell layers in each of the tissues lies a basal membrane. So beneath the epithelial layer, there's another membrane which is known as the basal membrane. Alright. So it separates the epithelial cells from the underlying layer of supporting connective tissue termed as stroma. So the first layer is the epithelial layer, under which we have the basement layer or the basal layer or the basal lamina, which separates the epithelial layer from the innermost part, which is the stroma. So the innermost part is called the stroma, which is also the connective tissue cells. So this is stroma, and the uppermost part is the basal cells, and the topmost part is the epithelial cells. So the basement membrane is a specialized type of extracellular matrix and is assembled from proteins secreted largely by epithelial cells. So the making of basal membrane is mostly from epithelial cells. So the making of basal membrane comes mostly from the proteins secreted by epithelial cells. So another type of basement membrane separates endothelial cells, which form the inner lining of capillaries and larger vessels. So there's another layer inside the basement membrane, which is the endothelial layer. Alright, so endo means inside, alright, and epi means the outside layer. So the topmost is the epithelial layer, next we have the basal membrane or the basal lamina, and inside the basal lamina we have the endothelial layer, alright, so which is a very smooth layer which separates the basal membrane from the stroma, alright. So this is the basic structure of a cell or a cell type, alright, and the tumor arises from the topmost layer, which is the epithelial layer. So moving with this, so the epithelia are of interest here because they spawn the most common human cancers, which is the carcinomas. So the epithelia or the epithelial cell, which is the topmost layer, are the makers or are the birth givers to tumors. So from where the tumors arise, and these tumors initially are non-cancerous. While they grow, they become cancerous. Alright. So during the process of growth of a tumor, these tumors slowly becomes carcinogens or carcinomas. Alright. So these become cancer cells, these tumor cells. Alright. So these tumors are responsible for more than 80% of the cancer related deaths in the Western world. Also included among the carcinomas are tumors arising from epithelial cell layers of the gastrointestinal tract, which includes mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, as well as the skin, mammary glands, pancreas, lung, liver, ovary, uterus, prostate, gallbladder, and the urinary bladder. So there are a number of tumors that can be formed inside a human body from the epithelial layer. So the epithelial layer plays a huge part in formation of a tumor or cancer cells. So these cancer cells are developed due to the epithelial cell layer in the body. So not all tumors though are developed from the epithelial layers, but most of them, around 70%, are developed from the epithelial cells. So in my next video, I'll be discuss some of the non-epithelial cells from where tumors develop. So I'll discuss some of the tumors which are developed from places which are not part of epithelial layer. So coming to some of the carcinomas, here's a table for you. So these are the tissue sites of more common type of adenocarcinomas, and these are the tissue sites of more common types of squamous cell carcinoma and other types of carcinomas. So there are different organs, alright. These are different organs, different body parts: the lung, colon, breast, pancreas, stomach, esophagus, and skin, nasal cavity. These are tissues. These are some tissue sites, and these are some of the carcinomas or cancer cells that can be formed in these tissue cells. Alright, so let's just keep this video till here. I'll be back with another video very soon, in which I'll be discussing some of the non-epithelial cells from where tumors develop. So stay tuned, and I'll be back with another video very soon. Thank you for watching.